We are now officially recording.
We are
And
on the air.
I will promise you that I can say bringing the brack. Fuck, I already fucked it up.
He's bringing the bracket back.
Bringing
Yeah.
the bracket back. I was trying to impress you by saying it correctly on the first try, and I already screwed it up.
Well, that's because you're nipping from the little
Nipping from the
flask there.
flask. Welcome, everybody, to Films and Fermentation, episode 83. This is a bracket special on film duos. That's right, we are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, we bring the bracket back.
Yeah.
Put the bracket back. We're talking film duos, and it just felt right to bring a tournament into this episode. It felt like the right time to bring it back. So we have two divisions tonight. We have a comedy duo division and a dramatic / action duo division. The winner of each division will face off in a final round to be named the ultimate movie duo. Don't forget to email us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. You can let us know about your favorite film duo or if you agree with our choices. You can also visit us at linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. And don't forget, we now have a merchandise store. If you travel to tpublic.com and look up Films and Fermentation storefront, you will see the merchandise we currently have for sale. New designs coming shortly.
Yeah,
This episode, this episode is brought to you by Dubby.
Oh, that's me this time. Hold on.
That's you this time, yeah.
That's me. I'm sorry. I'm not used to it being so early in the thing. Okay. Dubby. Dubby is an all-natural energy drink. It uses a patented all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you. This ingredient is what gives Dubby its laser focus and fast reflexes, making it perfect for gamers everywhere. Dubby contains important aminos and vitamins that canned energy drinks simply don't have. Sorry about that. Dubby never uses fillers or artificial colors. It's a sugar-free and keto-friendly alternative energy drink. Choose from flavors such as Dragonade, Beach and Peach, and Galaxy Grenade. Guaranteed to boost energy without the jitters. Go to WGG to order today. Use the promo code FILMSFERMENT and receive 10% off every order. Dubby. Be better.
GG. So what are we drinking tonight, gentlemen? Should I go first since you've already kind of seen mine a little bit?
You got a flask.
I decided, since we're doing duos tonight, I would drink from what I consider to be a very underutilized duo, and that is bourbon in a flask. What's up?
The perfect pairing, bourbon in a flask.
Just saying hi.
Almost as good as gin in a flask and rum in a flask. And
or anything in a flask.
Scotch
really.
in a flask.
In a flask. Scotch.
Especially when that flask is in your drawer in your classroom for those in-between periods. So, Mike, what are you drinking this evening?
Tonight, I'm starting with one of my honor brewery beers called At Ease Mango Shanty.
No, you got the big ass flask. That's my flask.
Ooh, mango-licious. I think I had that just the other night. It was in my fridge, and I was looking at it, and I was like, this feels summery, and unfortunately, the summer has been exhausted for my refrigerator. It's all, anything summer has made its way into my stomach, so I had that the other night.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
What are you drinking tonight then, Kev?
Well, funny you should ask. Not funny, because I was expecting it. These were left for us by relatives. This will probably be, this will be my first. It's 3 Threes Blueberry Saison Farmhouse. Okay. Brewed in the blueberry capital of the world. Is that New Jersey? Is it New Jersey? It is. It's in Hamilton, New Jersey. It's a Saison-style ale with blueberries. It is 5.8% alcohol by volume. I guess you could say this is maybe a summery kind of drink. But I'm starting with this, and I also have my power duo of Spellbound Brewing Pumpkin Ale, and I have the Elysian, the Great Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale, and that's my power duo. This is The Rock, and this is Kevin Hart
Okay.
as a duo.
My power duo beer is my football and crab cakes and football. There's your power duo right there.
Ah. Does it taste like crab cakes and football?
No.
No.
That'd be interesting. Crab cake flavored beer.
I think somebody's probably done an Old Bay flavored beer.
I'm sure. I don't know about.
I'm
a
sure
flavored
somewhere.
one, So, Mike, do you have a history lesson for us this evening?
This day in film history. I'm going to start off with last week in film history, November 4th, 1988. John Carpenter's sci-fi satire, They Live, is released.
You know, I had to make sure that was included. I don't care if it was last week or not. I had to put that one out there for my friend Wayne G, who apparently thinks John Carpenter is overrated. They Live, is probably my personal favorite John Carpenter film.
Oh, I know.
It has my favorite wrestler of all time starring in it, Rowdy Piper. Come here.
But was he really rowdy? Was he really rowdy?
Yes,
he was a rowdy man. His greatest quote in the movie, of course, is "I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." But I also
which is my
really
text
like
tone when you guys text me.
I also really like the line where he looks at the woman in the grocery store and goes, "You're all right. She's an ugly motherfucker." What else we got there, Mike?
We got 1969. Sesame Street premieres on PBS TV.
Sunny days, streets of love, clouds away.
A way to follow up my They Live fact with Sesame Street. Of course, now owned by Disney.
Yes. And speaking of Disney,
in
2019, space western TV series set in the Star Wars franchise The Mandalorian by Jon Favreau is released on Disney Plus.
I don't know if we have rights for this music, so I'm just humming it along.
Yeah, we don't need Disney suing us.
We're all better off for the existence of this show, and mainly because of Baby Yoda.
Yes. We need more Grogu.
Speaking of Disney again.
Today marks the 49th anniversary of Disney's animated film Robin Hood, one of my personal favorites.
I was going to say, I think it's an underrated animated Disney film.
Yeah.
I love
there they go, Little John riding through the forest. That's all I got from it.
And the King Richard.
Because you just bring the pretty, Kevin. You just bring the pretty. That's another shirt. Kevin brings the pretty.
I'll give you the link, Mike. You can start designing this shit.
I'll get you a couple pictures to go on it too.
And I have some pictures. I'll take the picture of like you and me at the weddings. Like,
I love it.
Mike, what's your fun drink for this evening?
Tonight, I was going through my pages from the calendar, and I found something very interesting. They have some of them that's marked the top 20 must-tries beers. So I picked one out that we have already tried.
Okay.
Dragon's Milk Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout.
Hey, I have some of that in my fridge right now.
From New Holland Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Holland.
I'm a gang.
Yeah, it's an Amagang Brewery.
Yep.
Yeah, I have some in my fridge right now.
Yes, it is.
I love me a little Dragon's Milk.
They got the tiniest of nipples.
Yeah, nothing like drinking that milk right from the dragon's teeth.
It says it's part of the brewery's High Gravity series, and according to the brewery, America's #1 selling bourbon barrel aged stout is 11% ABV. Black Potion is oaky with lots of chocolate and vanilla up front. The flavors bring an explosive coconut and chocolate combo with a bit of alcohol warmth and some dried fruit nuances. Don't drink this too cold, as a lot of this complexity emerges as it's warmed.
Kevin
Weird.
can tell you what it's like to drink it on an empty stomach.
Not good.
That's one of my favorites. And what's number one on that list?
They don't tell what's number one. They just say this is one of the top 25.
Okay.
Top 20. So for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do some top 20s of must-try beers.
Sounds good.
Does it tell you where that particular one fell? That was
No,
number
it
what?
doesn't give us a number. It just says
Man, this is the worst top list ever.
I don't know. I think we've done some pretty bad ones in the past.
That's true. Never mind. We keep moving.
they don't want. They don't
You
want
remember
to piss
back?
any
You remember
beer
back in
company off.
the first year we started doing this, where we had like a 3-hour show that we didn't record.
That was one.
Notes from the last show, starting with our synopsis according to Glip. This is one of my favorite synopses so far. Last week, according to Glip, the participants talked about important amino acids, fields of actors, credit for the film, trivia for the second movie, blankets of freedom, and cherry-flavored vegetables.
I'm missing the blankets of freedom. When did the blankets of freedom get mentioned?
We were talking about Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men, I think.
Mm.
And you and I were like quoting the speech and stuff. I know where the cherry flavored vegetables came from. But I had a couple more movies that I thought was worth mentioning on the ensemble films, even though we didn't have them on our lists.
Mm-hmm.
Knives Out, which is a very recent film with Daniel Craig, Ana de Armas, Don Johnson,
Chris Pine, not Chris Pine, Chris Evans,
Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, the sexiest man alive right
Jamie
now.
Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis was in it. Yeah, it's Chris Evans who's his name, the sexiest man alive, right?
Yep.
Spotlight, which is a film ensemble film with Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams, Michael Keaton, just to name a few people. It was the Academy Award winner for Best Picture a couple years ago. Bullet Train, which Kevin and I saw in the theater.
That was good.
Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Joey King, Michael Shannon was in it, and The Breakfast Club, which I feel is I think that's I consider that an ensemble.
It is when you think of the success they had following the movie, but I think they were relatively no names by when that came out.
I think it's kind of you consider it like an ensemble because there's no real like attention spent on one particular character. Everybody kind of gets their equal share.
True.
And that's true. And then we said the same thing with like Clue. Like nobody in that film was really like a superstar, but it's still considered an ensemble.
No, that's a good point.
And we never picked our favorite ensemble film.
You didn't.
I didn't. Well, I mean, like we were going to try to pick between like all of our choices what was the best ensemble film. I don't think we're going to do that tonight because we got so much other shit to do. But
I think the Avengers Endgame wins.
Yeah, for the total amount of people in that ensemble. Yeah, I just watched the final scene from that again the other night. It was on TV already, so I turned it on, and it was right as Cap catches the hammer for the first time, and Thor goes, "I knew it." You know.
Have you seen somebody spliced in or CGI'd in things from all over the place? Like Darth Vader was on the dark side, and there was the DeLorean on the good side, and like everything was in there.
I think you had like the T-Birds from Greece came running out at one point. It was like every character you can think of from every movie ever made. On the battlefield at the end of Endgame, and they just kept replaying the sound of them like running and going. The cherry souffle that I drank last week, which was the cherry flavored vegetable infused beer that I almost shit myself drinking. So at the end of the night, you know, after we got off the show, I was emptying out the bottles in the sink to clean them out to put them in recycling. And as I'm emptying out the bottle of cherry souffle, pulp starts coming out of the bottle.
Oh,
There was like vegetable pulp at the bottom of the
Oh.
bottle, and I'm like, I am so happy I didn't finish the bottle.
Man, that was supposed to give you your vitamins and minerals for the day.
No, I'm pretty
Oh.
sure if I had taken a big swig of pulp at the bottom of that bottle as we were on air, I probably would have threw up on the YouTube show. So
that would have
We
been
would
the
have had a
highest
lot.
ladies
That would have
waiting.
brought us up to the number
Number
2
one.
spot.
Number
yeah, we
one.
got actually watch this week as Leo throws up on the air. So speaking of rankings, let's give you guys an update before we do our shout outs here. So let's see here. On the film review charts on Good Pods, this is the one that we were ranked on for the very first time ever, was the film review chart. This week, as of today, we are number 3 out of the top 100 film review indie shows.
Nice.
And on the regular film review chart, we are also number 3 out of the top 100 film review shows.
Wow.
Of the top 100 episodes of the week, episode 82, Favorite Ensemble Films, finished 40th out of the top 100 episodes of the week.
Okay.
For the all TV and film charts, we finished number 7 on the regular chart and number 7 on the indie chart.
At least we're
And-
constant.
Yeah, and then for the top 100 shows, regardless of genre, on the regular chart, we finished at number 28, which is a 25 spot jump from last week.
Nice.
And
Wow.
on the top 100 shows, indie only, and this is regardless of genre, we are number 3 out of the top 100 shows on the indie chart.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. On all indie charts, we're number 3.
On 3 out of the 4 indie charts that I read to you, we're number 3.
Okay. Damn.
Well, actually, we're number 3 on the indie top 100. Like I said, we're number 7 on the all TV and film top 100, and on the film review, indie and regular, we're number 3.
So yeah,
So we
And the
made it
three
to
indie-
3 on the top 100 shows.
nice.
So I have a couple shout outs. So aside from the shout outs, I have a few Twitter messages too that we got this week that I'm going to read out. So let's talk about our shout outs here. So these are shout outs to a number of the independent podcasts out there on Twitter who we follow and who follow us and who help support the show. It's because of the good people at these independent podcasts that we managed to make it to that 3 spot this week, as well as everybody else out there who's listened to the show, rated it, reviewed it, and just, supported us in some general way. So thank you, everybody. So, Mike, why don't you start us out there?
Thank you to Wrestling World with Austin Boyer.
Thank you to 1420 Sports Bar Podcast.
Thank you, Manic Pixie Weirdo Podcast.
Thank you, Recast 2.0.
Thank you to Rick and Morty Unofficial Podcast and Apathetic Enthusiasm Podcast.
Big thanks to going out to Bar Banter.
We're going to thank Mr. Gentleman.
Throw a thank you out there to 8750 with Yeti F.
Big thanks to You, Me, and a Movie with Donald and a Pizza.
No pizza.
No
Yes,
pizza on the podcast.
Yes, pizza. Pizza.
I want to thank Space Castle, who designed our logo.
Yes, the logo that is now available on a number of items at our Public store. Thank
Yes,
you
it
to the Fandalorians who wrote to us on Twitter about episode. It was the episode with Wayne G from Recasted 2.0, which was episode 81. Was it? We did that, the recasted episode.
Yes.
They said, finally got to listen to this episode. We all enjoyed it, and if public school teachers like it, you know it's good. And just
Word.
so
I
the
love it.
Fandalorians know out there, 2 out of the 3 gentlemen on this podcast are also teachers.
That's right. One's a public school teacher. I want to send a shout out to a Twitter message we got from All Hallows Eve podcast. They reached out and said, "Great show, guys." Well,
And that
thank
was
you. We
that
appreciate
was in
it.
reference to our episode 82 ensemble episode. So, Mike.
I give a shout out to Quad Pro Quo.
Yes. Let me give a shout out to the Chime In podcast.
A big shout out to G-Day. Yeah, G-Day. DJ Scoob at The Undiscovered Entrepreneur.
And last but not least, a shout out to the Geeky Dad podcast.
Yes. Thank you to all of those people out there, all of those podcasts for supporting our show. Now on to the main segment, brought to you by Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up the most trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable all in one place. Follow any topic from sports, tech, business, science, even Bitcoin. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud. They have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Our podcast is on there too. Download and use Newsly for free now from newsly.me or from the link in the description of the show. Use the promo code ANDFERMENT to receive a 1-month free premium subscription. Stop scrolling. Start listening.
Newsly!
Not me.
Not me.
What are you doing, Dave?
So, yes, as we said
Don't touch that, Dave.
Don't touch that, Dave. I'm scared, Dave.
Row. Oh, that's it.
I love the stuff. I love when he sings Daisy Daisy in the movie. It's very creepy. But then I also have flashbacks to Revenge of the Nerds, where the Chinese guy is riding the bicycle around the track during the college games, and they're playing Daisy Daisy in Japanese. So tonight's main segment is all about film duos. Duos meaning two, meaning a pair, meaning 1 + 1 equals
Or a couple.
2. Or a couple, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, we have 2 divisions, comedy and drama, and the winner of each division will face off to be named the ultimate duo. But before we get to the bracket, which I will be sharing on the video feed, so anybody watching the YouTube channel, you can see the bracket for yourself. We have some duos that I decided were already in the Hall of Fame. It wasn't fair to put them in the bracket because they couldn't be beaten. And we really shouldn't be judging these duos anyway because they have just been, legends in and of themselves. And that is Hope and Crosby, Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, who did a number of movies together. Abbott and Costello, how can they not be in the Hall of Fame? Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, I Love Lucy. Martin and Lewis, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis. Laurel and Hardy, and Batman and Robin.
Oh, I'm going to add one. George and Gracie.
Oh, yeah, Burns and Allen.
George
Burns and Gracie Allen. Yep, they should be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yep.
So I also have some honorable mentions. I'm going to do these first before we get to the main bracket because when deciding on who was going to go into the bracket, I decided we were only going to use one duo from so how do I explain this? One person can only be in one duo. So Gene Wilder, for example, can be in a couple of duos. But for the bracket, I decided to go with the duo that I thought was the more successful of the two, the ones with the most movies or the ones that were just like the more well-known. So in the bracket, for example, Gene Wilder is paired up with Richard Pryor because they did about 4 or 5 films together. So as an honorable mention, though, I have Gene Wilder and Cleavon Little from Blazing Saddles playing Bart and what was I don't remember the sheriff's name. C-3PO and R2-D2 get an honorable mention because I decided I was only going to do one duo from each movie as well and felt that Han and Chewie were the better duo from Star Wars.
True.
So they are in the bracket. So C-3PO and R2-D2 get an honorable mention. Brad Pitt and Ed Norton from Fight Club, which technically I don't know if they're really a duo when you consider the twist is that they're the same person.
Whoa. Some people haven't seen it yet, Mr.
Spoiler alert.
Mr. Spoiler.
This
Brad
is a
Pitt,
movie podcast. We will make spoilers.
Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman in Seven, which twist, they're the same person.
Oh no, not again. What's in the box?
Really?
What's in
It's
the
the same
box?
person.
What's in the
It's the
box?
same person.
I have Mike Myers on the bracket already, so I included as an honorable mention instead Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy in Shrek. Shrek and Donkey. I also have Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall from Coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
A great duo film, but I don't think is worthy because I have Eddie Murphy on the bracket somewhere else. De Niro and Grodin in Midnight Run. I really wanted to put them on the bracket, but I couldn't justify it in terms of some of the other duos that I had on there.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber. I was going to put them on the bracket, but I knew Mike would disown me, so I didn't bother putting it
No,
on
I just
there.
want to vote for it.
I put this one on there as a personal favorite. I don't even know if it's an honorable mention or worth mentioning at all, but Bruce Willis and Danny Aiello and Hudson Hawk.
Would you like to swing on a
Did-
star?
You put in Hudson Hawk?
I love Hudson Hawk. Are you
I
kidding
love
Do
me?
you
Hudson Hawk.
really?
What's wrong
Yeah,
with
it's one of
you?
my favorite bad films.
Okay,
love
okay.
Hudson Hawk.
Favorite
Yeah.
bad film.
It's
All
one of
right.
my. It's a bad film I love to watch.
Okay.
Hey. Wait a minute.
Guilty pleasure.
Russo
And then-
dies in it. Who cares? That's
Yeah.
great.
And then I have Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines from Running Scared, one of Mike's favorite movies.
Yeah.
And Billy Crystal and Carol Kane from The Princess Bride. And the only reason they didn't make the bracket is because I have another duo from The Princess Bride that made the bracket instead.
Humpadink, 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 humpadink.
Go away, witch. I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. So that brings us then to the main bracket. I'm going to share my screen so that we can have the bracket up on the screen in front of us. So, can you gentlemen see the bracket?
I see the bracket.
All
I
right,
see
cool.
a blur. Oh, I see the bracket now.
There's the bracket. Yes. So I figured this way. If anybody's watching the YouTube show, you can see the bracket for yourself. So in the comedy division, in round one, we have the first seed, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi and the Blues Brothers, versus the 16th seed, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan in the Rush Hour series. In the second seed, Cheech and Chong from various marijuana-based films, versus Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern in Home Alone and Home Alone 2 as the 15th seed. Joe Pesci, by the way, is the only person on here twice because he is in both the drama and comedy categories. Gene
I
Wilder
loved
and
his
Richard,
work in City Slickers.
Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor are the third seed. They've done a number of movies together, including Silver Streak. And then I have Cal Penn and John Cho from the Harold and Kumar films as the 14th seed. Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox in the fourth seed of Back to the Future films versus Andre the Giant and Mandy Patinkin from The Princess Bride at the 13th seed. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, who did the Grumpy Old Men and Odd Couple movies, 5th seed, versus Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn in the 12th seed for movies like Maid and Swingers. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey for Wayne's World at the 6th seed versus Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in the 11th seed for a number of films that they've done together. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes as Jay and Silent Bob in the View Askew-niverse, 7th seed, versus David Spade and Chris Farley in the 10th seed. They did Black Sheep together and Tommy Boy. And then Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter in the 8th seed, better known as Bill and Ted, versus Buzz and Woody from Toy Story in the 9th seed. So what do you think so far? Did I do a good job with this?
You
Yeah.
did a great job.
Any complaints before we go on?
No complaints. I know I'm gonna hate you for one of them. So.
I did my best, man, to try to even it out. So
I
it
don't
wasn't
know.
like
It's not that. There's nothing with the. It's just the way I'm thinking about how I'm going to vote for. It's going to make me vote for somebody I don't want.
No, that's kind of the point, man. We got to make it a little challenging here. There's always got to be an upset somewhere.
Yeah.
So how about we do the comedy round first, and then we'll go to the drama and action one.
Okay.
So first,
I'm sorry, I'm adding
Yeah.
music.
Do you want music? I have some.
No, we're good. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, First Seed versus Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. So I just moved Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi along automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is going to vote over them. So, Cheech and Chong in the second seed versus Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern.
Born in East LA. I was born in East LA.
Mexican Americans love education, so they go to night school where they take Spanish and get a B. Yeah, I'm going Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I enjoy Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, but I mean, Cheech and Chong have been around forever. They actually just went back on tour recently.
They're almost
Harry, what happened to your
legend
head? What
status,
happened
aren't
to
they?
your face, Marv?
What you say there, Mike?
The Cheech and Chong should almost be put in a legend status.
Yeah, I know, right? Wilder and Pryor versus Cal Penn and Sean Show. Should I just go Wilder and Pryor?
Well, duh.
I feel like
Yeah.
some of these are just too stacked against each other here. I think when we get to the second round, this is where the discussions are going to come into play. So this is a tough one, I think. Here, I kind of was a little mad that I set it up this way, but I couldn't think of a better way to do it. So it's Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd for the Back to the Future series versus Andre the Giant and Mandy Patinkin for Princess Bride.
Well, yes, it's hard, but I'm going to go with Lloyd and Fox because they were together in more movies.
And
Yeah,
I
agree.
I had the same thinking. I'm like, as much as I love Princess Bride, as much as I love, Fezzik and Inigo,
Physique.
yeah, this is there's more history with Lloyd and Fox.
Yep.
Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon versus Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn.
Again, Walter Matthau and Lemon should almost be in legendary
Yeah,
status.
almost should be in legend status. Unfortunately, I need names for the bracket.
Yes.
So Matthau and Lemon.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe we should have did this in the pre-show.
It's okay.
Myers and Carvey versus Farrell and I know where Mike's going on this one.
No,
No,
because Farrell and Riley did more together than movies than Myers and Carvey did together.
Yeah, Carvey. Myers really kind of made Carvey hate him.
wow.
And they did the Wayne's
This is
World
the one
movies,
I was going to
but
hate you for, Lee. This is the one.
Wow. So Will Ferrell and John C. Riley pull the upset
yeah.
over Dana Carvey and Mike Myers. Wow.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Yep.
Boats
Want to do
and
karate in the
hoes,
garage?
Boats and
Yep.
hose.
That fucking Catalina wine mixer.
Did you touch my drum set?
I put my balls on your drum set. Mike hates us right now.
I do. I really do.
Kev, one of my favorite lines is it's from Talladega Nights.
Mm-hmm.
Riley goes, I like to picture Jesus as like a guy wearing a tuxedo T-shirt. It says I'm formal, but I like to party. Jay and Silent Bob versus Chris Farley and David Spade.
I'm going with Kevin Smith and Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. I never got. Oh, I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
No, now I can.
All right, I'm here.
Okay.
I was never a big fan of
Spade and Farley.
Spade and Farley.
Huh.
Not really.
I'm going with Jay and Silent Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually like thinking possibly Spade and Farley because I do like the films that they did together. But like you said, Smith and Mewes have been doing this forever.
Yeah.
Even though Clerks 3 kind of ruined the franchise for me. And then I actually think this is kind of a tough one. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winters versus Buzz and Woody from Toy Story.
I go with Buzz and Woody. They had to work on their friendship. That was the whole premise of the first one. And then they became the best of pals, And
I think I'm going to go Buzz and Woody as well, just because, like Clerks 3, Bill and Ted 3 kind of ruined the franchise for me as well.
And I concur with the both of you.
Okay, so that's the late round upset. So that means in round 2, we have Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi versus Buzz and Woody.
Mhm.
And then we have Cheech and Chong versus. Oh wait, that's wrong.
No,
Because
that's right.
it'll be the lowest seed versus the first seed, right?
No.
No, because the lowest
Well-
seed would be 11th seed, which is John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. So this would be how it works out. So first matchup would be John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd versus Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Then it'll be Cheech and Chong versus Buzz and Woody. Then it would be Pryor and Wilder versus Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. Then we have Fox and Lloyd versus Mathau and Lemon. Wow. Shit. Shit. So the first one is John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd as the Blues Brothers versus John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell.
I think if Aykroyd and Belushi had more time together, I would go with them. But I think I've got to go with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Yeah, I'm going with Aykroyd and Belushi. I can't outvote the Blues Brothers, even though they only had the one film together. They did do a number of performances together on SNL.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
They also went on tour as the Blues Brothers. They cut 4 albums as the Blues Brothers. Like they were pretty popular outside of the film as well. That gives us Cheech and Chong versus Buzz and Woody.
Or Buzz.
I'm voting Buzz and Woody only because I feel like God will smite me if I don't. If I take Cheech and Chong over Buzz and Woody.
What's the difference? They're buzzed and they have Woody anyway.
Yeah, Buzz and Woody. Yeah. I'm going Buzz and Woody. I love Cheech and Chong, but come on, Toy Story is fucking classic.
I'm going Cheech and Chong.
And what are you going with,
Buzz and Woody.
Buzz and Woody, another upset. That gives us Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor versus Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. Jay and Silent Bob versus Wilder and Pryor.
Wilder and Pryor, I think.
I'm going Wilder and Pryor.
Yeah.
I think even Kevin Smith would go Wilder and Pryor.
Yeah.
And then that gives us the last matchup, which is Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon versus Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd.
Matthau and Lemon.
You know, even though Matthau and Lemon are legends, I'm going Fox and Lloyd just because it's the Back to the Future franchise shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lemon and Matthau stuff is like, you know, some of their work is older, like the Odd Couple films, and then they have the resurgence they had with the Grumpy Old Men. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could outvote the Back to the Future franchise.
No, I think I got to go with Fox and Lloyd as well.
Okay. So that means we now have Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi versus Buzz and Woody. And Wilder, oh god damn, Wilder and Pryor versus Fox and Lloyd. Oh shit!
I would go with Wilder and Pryor over Fox and Lloyd, and I love the Back to the Future movies, but they weren't nearly as funny or as yeah. I just enjoyed the comedy between.
Yeah, I love the Back to the Future films, but I think I'm going to go Wilder and Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, how about you?
Yeah, Wilder and Pryor.
All right, so then we have to choose between the Blues Brothers and Buzz and Woody. I'm sorry. I'm choosing the Blues Brothers. I can't not choose the Blues Brothers.
I'm on a mission from God.
Mm-hmm.
Kev.
I'm going with Buzz and Woody.
Oh, but Mike, you're doing the Blues Brothers, right?
I am.
All right, so that is the final round. Then is the Blues Brothers, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi versus Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. Now, fuck, man, I've been going Aykroyd and Belushi the whole way through because it's the Blues Brothers, but it's Gene Wilder and Richard fucking Pryor
Yeah.
who've done a number of movies together, all successful, all funny. You know, a lot of funny shit on their own.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if I can go Aykroyd and Belushi here.
No, it's gonna be
gonna be
Wilder
Wilder and Pryor.
Wilder and Pryor. So
Okay.
we have our comedy bracket winners, Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. They are our ultimate comedy duo. That takes us to the drama action side. Now, I had to make some concessions here in order to have enough actors for the seating. So I have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost on this bracket, even though the 4 films they did together are comedies. I felt like there was enough action and like drama in them that they could fall into this category as well. Same thing with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in the Men in Black series. There's enough, action and traumatic, moments in some of those films. He also helped me round out the bracket. So, first seed in the action drama bracket, William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy.
I shall
As
be
Kirk and
and always will
Spock.
be your friend.
Versus 16th seed Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law in the Sherlock Holmes series. Paul
Shatner and
I was going to go through the bracket first, and then we can vote.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Paul Newman and Robert Redford, who did Butch and Sundance together, as well as The Sting, versus DiCaprio and Pitt from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in the Lethal Weapon series, 3rd seed, versus 14th seed Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty from Bonnie and Clyde. 4th seed Han and Chewie from the Star Wars series versus Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, the 12th seed from Men in Black. John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction at the 5th seed versus Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson from In Bruges at the 13th seed. Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, number 6 for Goodfellas and Casino versus Kurt Russell and Sly Stallone in 11 for Tango and Cash. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost for the Cornetto trilogy, as well as the movie Paul in the 7th seed versus Gina Davis and Suna Sarandon in the 10th seed for Thelma and Louise. Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins, 8th seed for Shawshank Redemption versus Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte in the 9th seed for 48 Hours. So I should immediately assume that we're going Shatner and Nimoy in the first round here, right?
Live long and prosper.
I doubt Mike would have voted against Shatner and Nimoy. Newman and Redford versus DiCaprio and Pitt.
Newman and Redford.
Yeah, I'm going Newman and Redford as well because, it's just 2 legendary actors. Gibson and Glover versus Dunaway and Betty.
Leo?
Yeah.
Grab the cat.
What am I doing?
Grab the cat.
Grab the cat?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a line from Lethal Weapon.
Oh, okay. I thought you actually wanted me to grab my cat. He's sitting next to me.
Yeah, when the cat was on the car, they were
Yeah. So we doing Gibson and Glover then, I guess?
Gibson and Glover.
Han and Chewie versus Agents K and J.
Ooh, this is tough.
Fuck that, Han and Chewie.
Yeah.
I love the Men in Black, but I ain't voting against Star Wars. John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction versus Farrell and Gleeson in Bruges.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love In Bruges, but I think Pulp Fiction is a better duo. De Niro and Pesci versus Russell and Stallone.
De Niro and Pesci.
Hold on.
They were together in more movies.
Yep. Go with De Niro and Pesci.
Okay. So we got all favorites so far. Peg and
So far.
Frost versus Davis and Sarandon.
I'd go Peg and Frost. I'm going Turner and Hooch.
I'm going Peg and Frost.
Yeah, just because they've done more movies together.
Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins versus Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
Murphy and Nolte.
Morgan and Tim.
Oh my
They only
God.
did one movie together.
Gotta leave this up to me. I love Shawshank Redemption. You know I do. But I think I'm going to go Murphy and Nolte just because they did a couple movies together.
Yeah.
And it's more of an action comedy, kind of thing. And the Morgan Freeman Tim Robbins thing is more of a platonic love story, I think, than a duo film.
Mm.
I did watch Shawshank again last night for like the 900th time too. So that means we have one upset in this round. So it's going to be first seed William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy versus ninth seed Murphy and Nolte. We then have our second seed Newman and Redford versus our seventh seed Peg and Frost. We have our third seed Glover and Gibson versus our sixth seed De Niro and Pesci.
Oh, shit.
And then we have Han and Chewie versus Travolta and Jackson. I'm going to go right off the bat and say Shatner and Nimoy are taking this round as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can't go against Kirk and Spock versus Eddie Murphy. Nick Nolte did two movies.
Yeah.
Newman and Redford versus Peg and Frost.
Newman and Redford.
Yeah, Newman and Redford.
See, I was going to take Peg and Frost just because I love those movies so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I probably wasn't going to win anyway. So then we got Gibson and Glover versus De Niro and Pesci.
Which is the toughest one in the room.
Mm.
See, I'm gonna go Gibson and Glover
I'm going to
because
go.
they did 4 movies together, playing the same characters. De Niro and Pesci, I kind of did a little cheat on the Goodfellas one there because it's kind of a trio.
Actually,
I'm
they
feeling
also,
De Niro and Pesci.
What'd you say, Mike?
you know what? I'm going to move on to Glover and Gibson because they also did Maverick together.
Danny Glover was in Maverick.
Yeah, very small
he
role.
had a cameo in it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't really count as like a duo. But I mean, I'm going with Gibson and Glover too. So you're doing that
Yeah,
too, Mike?
Yeah, I'm going Gibson and Glover.
Gibson and Glover, and then the last round is
It hurt
Han
me
and
to do it.
Han and Chewie versus Travolta and Jackson.
Travolta and Jackson. Better back and forth. I love Han and Chewie, but it's a one-sided conversation. It's always
What about you, Mike?
I'm going Han and Chewie.
Yeah, I can't go against Star Wars. I'm sorry. I mean, I might go against them in the next round. We'll see. First seed Shatner. Oh my God! Shatner and Nimoy versus Han and Chewie. We knew this was going to happen somewhere down the line in history.
Enterprise versus the Millennium Falcon.
It's the Enterprise versus the Millennium Falcon. I'm sorry, numbers 2 and 3 are a pretty tough one too, though. He's got Danny Glover and Mel Gibson versus Newman and Redford.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Woo! Han and Chewie versus Shatner and Nimoy. Oh fuck!
I go Shatner and Nimoy.
Michael.
Yeah, I'm going Shatner anyway.
Yeah, I was putting it on both of you. I was putting it on both of you because I didn't want to vote. I didn't want my heart to hurt too much. Shatner and Nimoy, and then we have Danny Glover.
You didn't want to vote against Chewie and Han, did you?
I didn't. No, I left it up to you guys. Gibson and Glover versus Newman and Redford. Newman and Redford. I was going to say Newman and Redford are legends, but I'm going Glover and Gibson just because I think it's a more entertaining series of films.
And I think it's more films. It's more
films.
they're more of a duo
Yeah.
that way.
And Kev, what did you say?
Yeah, I said that too.
Gibson and Glover. So
Yeah.
that leaves us to our final round, which is
Legends versus
Shatner and Nimoy as Kirk and Spock versus Gibson and Glover as Riggs and the other guy.
Well, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Spock's just seen, he said, I have been and shall always be your friend. That is the epitome of a duo.
So Kirk and Spock.
Yes, Kirk and Spock.
Kirk and Spock win the action drama category. That leaves us down to the final round, which is the comedy winner, which was Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, versus Kirk and Spock. Ooh.
The way I look at it, which you got to take each of them, put them into each other's movies, and which one would you want to see? Would you want to see Shatner and Nimoy in a comedy like Wilder and Pryor had been in, or would you rather see Wilder and Pryor in a Star Trek skit or episode?
I think I wasn't even looking at it that way. I was just thinking Kirk and Spock because it's like they are like you can talk about Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, but not everybody's going to know that they did movies together in the '80s and all that. And we know them because we're movie people. But like Kirk and Spock, even if you've never seen Star Trek before, people know those names, and people know who Shatner and Nimoy are. Like that to me is like the definition of iconic. And that's why I think you have to go with Kirk and Spock in this vote.
It happens every time we do a bracket. I get shit on, and that's okay.
I wasn't shitting on you. I said I was just saying that's how I was doing my thinking. So that's just.
I would really like to see Wilder and Pryor, living people, do a Star Trek skit.
Living people.
Then we have to go with Kirk.
Yeah, isn't Wilder and Pryor both dead?
Yeah, they're both dead.
Yes, I'd like to see them as alive and doing a skit. I mean, watching them dead and doing a skit's not quite as entertaining.
I voted for the only live guy that's left. Who went to space when he was like 90 something.
Yeah, Captain Kirk actually went to space. Yeah, I'm going with Kirk and Spock. So I think it's safe to say Kirk and Spock are the winners for Ultimate Duo. That means they've earned their way into our Hall of Fame of duos. Mike, do you have any? Yes, this was the I actually thought like doing the seating would make it easier, but then we did come to a couple that were like I had to think about it a little bit. Mike, you have any beer wisdom for us this evening?
I do. The best beer is an open beer.
Didn't we do that one before?
I don't think so. I just pulled it off today.
It's probably because I've heard it so many times before.
Probably.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on our drinks this evening, gentlemen?
Well, this went by quicker than I thought. I'm still working on the first one. The other two, I guess, are going to have to reside in the fridge for a bit.
I know. I thought this episode was going to go a lot longer.
So did I. I thought we would have more debate.
Yeah.
Definitely a summery drink, but still pretty good.
Okay. And it's funny, like as much as I've drank out of this flask so far, I'm nowhere near as wasted as I was last week after drinking cherry flavored vegetable juice. So hold on. So thanks for joining us tonight for episode 83, Movie Duos. Remember, if you have anything to say about our choices, or if you'd like to throw your favorite movie duo out there, you can email us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit us at one of our other sites on linktree.com/filmsandfermentation We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next week as we present episode 84, Villains Who Eventually Become Heroes. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Thanks again for everybody out there who's been supporting us and helping us get ourselves up in the rankings there on Good Pods. We're going to keep climbing that hill and hopefully get to number one of these days. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers to you out there, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.